Hi, I'm Franz, and right now I'm feeling a bit spoilt for choice. I'm in my local supermarket because Dad has asked me to pick up a few things for the family. A loaf of bread, chicken and salad for sandwiches at lunchtime, cereal bars and fruit for a healthy daytime snack during the school break, and flour, milk and eggs for pancakes on Saturday. Can't wait for those. But I'm overwhelmed by the choice on these shop shelves. Take these packets of flour. They're the supermarket's own value brand. There's a more expensive, fairly traded flour. There's organic flour, and there's flour here that seems to have been milled just down the road from locally grown wheat. You name it, they've got it. It's got me thinking. I mean, apart from taste, I wonder what factors people consider when they're making choices about their food shopping. I know my dad will be happy if I manage to bring home some change, so cost would definitely be on his mind. And right now everybody's talking about a recession and the gloomy economic picture. Suddenly everyone's concerned about the money in their pocket. But then there's my big sister. She's always banging on about sustainability, air miles, organic farming, animal welfare, and something called fair trade. Ethical consumption, she calls it. Cheap food comes at a price, she says. Whether it's the cost of the environment, food producers and suppliers, or consumers' health. So don't we all face a bit of a dilemma, especially these days? While times are hard, will we start putting value for money before personal values that might have become popular in recent years? That's exactly what I'd like to find out, and I'm going to do just that. Well, first of all, I need to learn more about this ethical consumption my sister keeps mentioning. I've arranged a phone call with an organisation called the Food Ethics Council, or the FEC for short. They challenge government, businesses and society as a whole to make wise choices that lead to better food and farming. Tom McMillan is the FEC's Executive Director.
Hello?
Hi Tom, it's Franz.
Hi there.
Thanks for agreeing to speak with me. I'm trying to find out what ethical consumption means exactly. It seems like such a broad term.
I think the easiest way to sum it up is that it describes when people try to do the right thing when they're shopping. So they're thinking about values and about how what they're buying and what they're not buying affects others and how it affects the planet and farm animals, for example, or other people, so the people who've produced food or other products. And so they're thinking about it more than just, is it tasty, how much does it cost, and how convenient will it be to turn some food that I buy into a meal.
Well, those ideals sound great, but what happens in reality? Are many of us actually basing our decisions on principles like those? Do we actually think of the people or places that might be affected by what we buy?
At one level, the answer is, of course we don't all stand there and consider every outcome of our action every time we buy something. On the other hand, though, the ethical market has been growing massively over the last 10 years, and now it's worth billions of pounds, even in the food sector. So clearly people do care, so much so that they're often prepared to put their hands in their pocket and even pay more for products that make ethical claims.
Well, it was really useful talking to Tom. But it isn't just a matter of right or wrong, is it? I mean, whether it's the environment, society, health, or all of these that matters to us. Surely these ethical considerations push up costs for food producers and suppliers. And ultimately, that means they'll cost more to the consumer. Let's see why the price of ethical food is higher than conventional foods, and just why it might be worth paying a bit more. One claim is that organic farming is an example of food production that has a less significant impact on the environment. Others claim we couldn't feed the population on organic alone, and that it might even use up more resources than conventional farming. Whatever we believe, one thing is certain. At the moment, it is more costly than non-organic food. I'm going to find out why. The Soil Association, the UK's leading organic organisation, has put me in touch with organic farmer Jim Collins. Amongst other things, Jim grows wheat according to the Soil Association's organic standards. Let's give him a ring.
Hello.
Hi Jim, it's Franz. I was wondering if I can ask you a few questions today.
No problems, Franz.
I know the word organic is actually defined by law. So what sort of standards and procedures does an organic wheat farmer, like yourself, have to follow?
Obviously, you can't use any pesticides or artificial fertilizers. There are some naturally occurring nutrients you can apply, but in our case, we don't use any sprays of any sort at all. We try and keep the whole thing sustainable on our own farm, not bring any inputs in.
And what about the cost of following these standards, both to the farmer and to the customer?
It's much more difficult to maintain your fertility, and wheat is a crop that needs a lot of fertility. So in our case, we really only grow winter wheat 1 year in 5. The rest of the rotation, we're oats, barley, beans, and then we have 1 year as a fertility builder of clover. Obviously, as your yields are that much lower, basically the price comes back to the consumer as higher. I would say the actual costs of growing a crop are lower because we're not using pesticides, chemicals, or artificial fertilizers. Seed is more expensive, but we normally home save our own seed. So yes, there's a cost, but it's not a cash cost. As I say, the problem is your yields at the end of the day are much lower, probably half of what a conventional farmer would get. And also, a conventional farmer can grow wheat every other year, or he could possibly grow it every year if he wanted to, whereas we can only grow wheat sensibly 1 year in 5, say.
So what are some of the benefits of organic farming?
Well, to me, there's many, many benefits for organic farming, but obviously for the biodiversity of the countryside, the environment. In a given area on an organic farm, you would get a much bigger variety of wildlife, wildflowers. Hopefully you would have purer watercourses, arguably. I think the benefits to the environment are, proven and fairly self-explanatory.
And just how popular is organic food and drink amongst consumers?
I think there's been tremendous growth for a large number of years, sort of 20-25% a year. I think perhaps with the downturn in the economy, people are backing off a little bit. Everyone's thinking about making their money go as far as possible, so I think perhaps the rate of increase has slowed down or come to a halt, but I'm sure it'll keep going.